Which is the most efficient drive mode to drive in your Ford F-150 Lightning? This is a slightly controversial subject because there's multiple modes. You also have the one pedal drive option. And so the first answer, in my opinion, is that it really just depends, okay? If you are in stop and go traffic in like a city, one pedal is gonna be helpful. It's also gonna be safer for you. But that is not gonna be more efficient when you're driving on regular roads, like what I'm doing here, where there is very little traffic, at least not until I get down into the city. And the reason why is because the one pedal is gonna kind of resist you a little bit. The moment you let off the throttle a little bit, it's gonna be trying to apply the brakes. So then that's where physics comes into play, because we're talking about conservation of energy here. Even though you're regenerating a lot of power when you hit the brakes, you cannot regenerate as much power as you lost in the process, right? Now, sport mode can be very efficient too, but that also depends on your drive modes. So, because of that, you have to consider, if you're driving in an area where you're going to have to let off the gas a lot to slow down a little bit, the sport mode helps. It brings a lot of power back, but it also remaps the throttle response. So when you hit it lightly, it's gonna give you a lot of juice because it figures you're trying to drive very quickly, right? And so that's one of the things you have to consider in the process, is that. Now that I'm done driving, I can try to explain this hopefully a little bit better. Put this guy in park. You can see right now what I was getting for mileage. So going back to this, okay? Sport mode can be beneficial because it's not as aggressive as the one pedal mode, right? It's not gonna bring you to a complete stop. However, when you let off the gas, it is gonna more aggressively use the regenerative braking, right? Which is great if you're racing or you're going through the canyons, then that's gonna be great. You're gonna need that. You're gonna need a little bit of that slowdown, and then that way you can also keep your foot on the quote-unquote gas pedal a little bit more. But here's why normal, in most scenarios, is actually the most efficient. Because normal mode allows you to coast. It does regenerate while you're doing that, just not as aggressively as sport mode, tow haul mode, or one pedal. So what I'll say as the caveat is normal mode plus someone who knows how to hypermile is gonna be more efficient, because it's gonna be less aggressive with the brakes. You're gonna lose less of your forward momentum, and thereby you're gonna keep more energy. And of course, the moment you hit the brake, as long as you're not smashing on it, you're gonna get that response from it telling you 100% on your brake coach. Now, if you have a Lightning, then you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then this might be new to you. So you just have to know, when I'm heading to a red light, I'm gonna coast, but once I start to approach that red light and it's not changing, well, then that's when I have to start pushing the pedal. But I don't have to slam on it. I just ease into it and I apply more and more of that brake until I come to a complete stop. If you do it that way, this is gonna say 100% on your brake coach. Now, not to confuse you, but if you do use one pedal drive, it's also going to say that, which is why you may think that that's more efficient. The car is smart enough to know how much braking to apply so that you're not using your friction brakes, and that your regenerative braking are doing the majority of the work. And so that is beneficial for you. But if you let off the gas and you're just wanting to glide a little bit and it slams on the brakes, then you've lost a lot of your forward momentum. That is why normal mode is the most efficient mode to drive in your Ford Lightning.